I've prepared a chart for you. This is my noticeability index.
Graphics.
Now, the formula for noticeability, as you can see up here in the top corner, is activity minus success times personality. So success really doesn't matter here. In fact, we're removing it from the equation. Noticeability doesn't care how you perform on the court. All it cares about is how you look while performing. Our all-time high for noticeability, Tyshawn Taylor, David McCormick, some of the highest numbers we've ever seen. Harry Ellis and Travis Relaford all the way down there in the corner. Remy Martin against Emporia State. Charted numbers that we've never seen before. This is Basketball Friends. He is Matt Tait. I am Nick Schwerdt. KU opened their season with an exhibition win over Emporia State. There's really no headlines ever to glean from exhibition games, except for the fact that Kansas fans got their first glimpse of Remy Martin. 15 points in 18 minutes last night. That's not really the point here. The point is that you couldn't take your eyes off of him.
When is the last time you heard the student section chanting a dude's name? When was the last time that when a guy checked out of the game, they chanted, "We want more"? He has so much charisma and there is so much dripping from his persona that it's just incredible. I mean, he is in a lot of ways like nothing we've ever seen at Kansas. And I think you can definitely count on one hand the number of guys, whether all time or in the Bill Self era, either or, that have this much attention on them and had it from day freaking one.
I'm glad you brought that up, Matt, because I don't think I've ever shared with you my noticeability formula. Have I shared with you my theory on noticeability?
No, it sounds made up.
It's actually very scientific. I've prepared a chart for you. This is my noticeability index.
Graphics. Okay.
Now, the formula for noticeability, as you can see up here in the top corner, is activity minus success times personality. So success really doesn't matter here. In fact, we're removing it from the equation. Noticeability doesn't care how you perform on the court. All it cares about is how you look while performing. You'll see here our all-time high for noticeability, Tyshawn Taylor, David McCormick, Devontae Graham also have scored high, some of the highest numbers we've ever seen. Harry Ellis and Travis Relaford all the way down there in the corner, they are on the lower end. So it doesn't necessarily indicate whether you're good or not. It just indicates how noticeable it is when you're on the court. Remy Martin against Emporia State charted numbers that we've never seen before in the noticeability index
of the noticeability.
I think we may be looking at an all-time noticeability season here for Remy.
I went into that game thinking I'm going to write whatever the story is. And I'm excited to see Remy, but I'm not going to force that. If he's a story, he's a story. If he's someone else's, I'll write that. And I think I wrote about him 3 different times from just that game that doesn't count. It doesn't mean anything, but it was the man's debut. He went full Remy. Remy Martin is basically like the Howard Stern of college basketball. I mean, whether you love him or you hate him, you're going to tune in because you want to see what he'll do next. And he's there before his career even starts, really.
So this is the part of the conversation where we have to put the disclaimer that the debut we saw from Remy Martin doesn't even count. It came against Emporia State.
Right.
I remember back in 2015, I was having a conversation with Jeff Goodman. KU had just beaten Chaminade in the Maui Invitational, and Svi Mikhailuk went off from 3.
Yeah.
I think it was like his sophomore season. He had, I think, 6 threes, went 6 of 11, had 18 points. And I interviewed Jeff Goodman the next day, and I said, "Is this Svi kid, huh? He's only 17, but 18 points last night in Chaminade. What do you think that means?" And I'll never forget, Jeff Goodman said, "It doesn't mean anything." You know why? Because it was against Chaminade. Svi Mikhailuk averaged 5 points per game. So I just say that not to say that Remy Martin is not going to be a fantastic player for KU. It's that the competition's going to get increasingly more difficult. But what I think you can take away is something that you brought up in the last discussion we had, which is energy, which is charisma, and I think the flip side of that, the relationship, the pain almost that you can see in Bill Self's eyes, not because he doesn't like what he's seeing, but because he knows he's got to kind of let some of this slide. He's got to let Remy Martin be Remy Martin and accept everything that comes with that, because we know there's going to be games where Remy Martin is going to go off, score 20 points, score 25 points, but there's going to be those 2 for 12 performances, and that's just sort of part of the Remy Martin experience.
Remy Martin gets benched, basically, right? He's not starting. Afterwards, he's asked about it and he says, yeah, I got to do better. I got to work harder. I got to deserve to be out there. So he gets it. He understands what buttons Self is pushing and he's okay with them. At the same time, in the same game, in the same environment, on the same planet, you saw Self have to cede some of that control. And he did. Remy was Remy out there. He didn't hold back. Self didn't ask him to. And you can see Self kind of understanding, well, if he's going to get me, I got to get him. And if we get each other, this is going to be pretty damn fun. Remains to be seen if they get each other all the time. Remains to be seen if that's a real smooth sailing type of thing or if there are waves and whatnot. The early indications are they both understand sort of the starting point. And so now we get to see where it goes from here. I mean, we asked David McCormick in the postgame, what'd you think of Remy's energy out there? And he laughed. I mean, he was like amused by the question because he didn't expect anything different, but he still loves it. He still ate it up. And this dude is a spectacle.
So I'm sure you, like most of America, has been enthralled with the Manning cast on Monday Night Football with Peyton and Eli Manning. They had Drew Brees on a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about, Peyton going from the Colts to the Broncos. Drew Brees had to go from the Chargers to the Saints, and they said the biggest difference, you're rocking some Denver gear right now, fitting. The biggest difference, it's not learning the new system, it's unlearning the old system.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what Remy's going to have to go through this season. It's not necessarily learning what Bill Self wants you to do. It's unlearning all the bad habits you picked up while being the guy on a bunch of shitty teams at Arizona State.
Playing basketball is not hard for him. Being a gamer, not hard for him. Making a clutch play or a big shot or delivering in a big moment, that's all easy for him, and it's what he loves to do. It's the rest of it. It's the prep. It's the mental part. All of that is going to be the challenging part. He came here to get exposure. He came here to play at Kansas and say he's done that, and he came here for a chance to win a national title. He gives them that. It would behoove him to do it the best he can because all those guys are going to join him. They all are hungry.
I'm already anticipating the madness that will be Remy Martin against Michigan State in Madison Square Garden on ESPN in what is essentially the tip-off and the biggest regular season event in college basketball.
This guy has played 3 NCAA tournament games in his life. 2 of them were losses, early round losses. 1 game he won. Now that he's at Kansas, you could make a case is the biggest game the guy's ever played in.
I think you're 100% right, and I have no earthly idea what that's going to look like. He could go off for 30 points, or he could take 12 bad shots in the first 20 minutes and see himself get benched for a combination of Joe Yesufu and Bobby Pettiford. I would not put anything past Bill Self in an event like that.
He's there to win the game. If that means he's got to play certain guys and not play others, you bet he's going to do that. What he's not going to do, though, is play Chris Teahan. I mean, Chris Teahan's got a lot of run on Basketball Friends. Nothing but love for Chris Teahan, but I feel confident that you can say Remy will not give up minutes to Chris Teahan in that game.
When Chris Teahan headed to the bench with about 17 minutes left in that game against Emporia State, I wondered right there. I go, is this foreshadowing for what's to come of Chris Teahan's season?
Starts, plays some minutes early, and then just kind of gets lost over there. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. It was fun while it lasted, but if the Remy Martin experience is going to come to fruition, somebody's got to cede some PT.